Good evening. It is Monday, September 19th, 2022, here at the City Council Chambers in City Hall for the regular meeting of the City Council for the City of Waverly. I call the meeting to order and conduct a roll call, please.
Beaufort.
Here.
Bergen.
Ahoy.
Drinkow.
Here.
Myers.
Hey.
Ralphie.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
And Kangas is absent.
Yes, he is. And welcome back to our guest council member, Mr. Marshall Morrow, tonight as well. Move to item C, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Move to item D, the approval of the agenda.
I will move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Drinkow, second by Bergen. Council discussion, if any. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. The agenda is approved. Item E is the public hearing, item number 1. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing for review of plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the remodel of the existing Parks Maintenance Building Phase 1 project. The Mayor and City Council will entertain any comments. After all comments, the hearing will be declared closed, and the following action will be considered. So entertain any public comment that we would have this evening from anybody. Any written or oral comments
No, sir.
to the clerk? Thank you. Seeing nobody rise for the public hearing from who's joined us this evening, we'll entertain a motion then.
I'll move approval of Resolution 22-121, approving plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost of $327,195 for the remodel of the existing Parks Maintenance Building Phase 1 project.
Second.
Motion by Rothy, second by Myers. Council discussion, if any?
I guess I would just like to point out that this is a considerably lesser amount than if we tore the building down and built it from scratch. And the building still has a lot of useful life in it. It's just that it needs a lot of updating. So this will give us a really nice building for a really nice long time.
It's definitely needed.
I guess I would add to that, just for the public's knowledge, we are aware that these bids came in higher than originally expected when we budgeted for it, and that's just kind of a sign of the times. And I feel confident that city staff has really looked at all the options and agree that it's time for us to go ahead and get it done.
Anything else? Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Schneider.
Yes.
Ralphie.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Vote of 6-0 and 1 absent. Resolution 22-121 is approved. Moves us to item 1A, Resolution 22-122, a resolution awarding contract for the remodel of the existing Parks Maintenance Building Phase 1 project. Entertain a motion.
Move approval of Resolution 22-122, awarding contract for the remodel of the existing Parks Maintenance Building Phase 1 project to Steggy Construction of Waverly, Iowa, for a total bid amount of $327,195.
Second.
Motion by Myers, second by Rothy. Council discussion.
I just had a question. Was this the only bid we got?
No, we actually received 2 bids. The other bid was a total of $336,700.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, roll call, Carla.
Ralphie.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
A vote of 6-0 with 1 absent, Resolution 22-122 is approved. Section F is public comments for items not on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the presiding officer. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. Are there any public comments this evening from anyone that's joined us? Not seeing anybody rise, we'll move to section G, consent calendar. Following items will be acted upon by voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Item 1 is a pay request from Align Architecture and Planning PLC for the South Riverside Park Master Plan for $2,856. Item 2 is a pay request from McClure for the Waverly Municipal Airport Taxiway Connector 2022 for $3,230.50. Item 3 is a pay request from Farnsworth Group for the Waverly building renovations at 117 First Street Northeast for $15,751. Item 4 is a Class E liquor license for Fairway Stores Incorporated, number 561. Item 5 is a special Class C liquor license for Wartburg College. Item 6 is a Class B beer permit for Waverly Oktoberfest. Item 7 is cash disbursements for August 2022. Entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the consent calendar as read by the mayor.
Second.
Motion by Schneider, second by Bergen. Council discussion, if any?
I do want to just make a comment about number 3, the pay request for the Waverly building renovations at 117 First Street Northeast. This has already been done, and I'm okay with paying whatever has already been done. However, we just kind of had a discussion on the 70-year-old building, right? And talked about how that came in higher. There was words about it's an old building, things are going to come up, and costs have increased. Further down the road, I think that this should be pulled separate and spoke about independently. Because I think this is a project that the city should no longer pursue. And I think Rod's statement, when last time we voted on this, was let's not get too far down the rabbit hole on this one. So I just wanted to make that comment about number 3.
Okay.
So are you asking that it be pulled from the consent
I am
calendar?
not. I'm just making a comment tonight.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent calendar as read, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Moving to section H, regular business. Got Self-Help International Representative Nora Tobin will present to council. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay?
We can.
My name's Nora Tobin. I'm the Executive Director of Self-Help International, and it is a delight to be here today. I get to tell you a little bit about the nonprofit that we run here in Waverly. We've been around for 63 years now, and some of you might remember us as the tractor people once upon a time. Vern Shield is the founder of Self-Help International back in 1959 and focused on building these tiny little tractors that could truly fit like straight up the aisle at church, and focused on how do we alleviate hunger around the world. He'd traveled and he'd seen the extreme poverty around the world, and he saw how mechanization made a difference for those of us here in Iowa to be able to increase our farm yields, and wanted to make a difference. And so at Shield Bantam, he started manufacturing these tiny little self-helper tractors and shipped them to 42 countries around the world, and worked with missionaries to be able to get them to people who could really use them. And over time, a couple things changed. By the late 80s, the different implements were available around the world, and so you could access them. It was about $20,000 to ship them from Waverly to another country around the world, and you could buy 2 in West Africa for that same price. And so it just became more cost effective to support people in a different way. And at that same time, Dr. Norman Borlaug, who's the Nobel Peace Prize laureate from Cresco, called and said, hey, you guys are Iowa farmers. Let's work together on supporting families to grow their own food and be able to support families to be able to nourish themselves in West Africa. And when a Nobel Peace Prize laureate calls, you don't say no. And so he joined the board of Self-Help and was active for about 20 years there. And so today we have diversified into the same mission to alleviate hunger by helping people help themselves, but focus more on integrated sustainable community development. So that looks like agricultural extension work to support farmers to increase their yields and grow more nutritious food. So high protein corn, high vitamin A sweet potatoes, high iron beans, other biofortified crops, particularly for families that can't necessarily afford the additional vitamins and need that diversified diet. We work on clean water and have partnered with the Waverly Rotary closely to be able to implement some clean water projects in Nicaragua, in Central America, to make sure people not just eat the nutrients, but can actually keep them in their bodies. And then focusing on empowering women, business owners in particular. If women had the same access to resources as men the world over, we'd have about 100 million fewer hungry people on the planet. That's really significant, and so, or 100,000, excuse me, but still, the numbers are pretty substantial there. And so really leveling the playing field to invest in women business owners. We are working with loans that are the size of $50 to $1,000 to help people start up small businesses and better feed their families. And we have a 98% repayment rate. These are people that might not be literate, that might not have a college degree or even a high school degree or even a junior high degree, but want the same thing we all want for our families, which is to be able to provide for our children. And so we have staff in Nicaragua, in Central America, in Ghana, in West Africa, and here in Waverly that are working together with our board of directors to be able to alleviate hunger around the world. I've shared our most recent publication. It just came out on Friday, so each of you should have a copy of our fall newsletter that talks about those integrated programs and how they really overlap to focus on that sustainable community development. Love to take any questions you might have.
I just have a comment. I did not have a clear understanding of the history of self-help. I knew it had something to do with Burn Shield, but I really appreciate you filling us in on that. That's very interesting.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Yeah, 63 years is nothing to,
Yeah.
not recognize by any means. I think it's important to realize that self-help has taken the initiative to, with the things in the newsletter here, just a few of them, just even on the front page, poultry vaccinations and seed business, and efforts to help people, where they are in their culture. Sometimes always uprooting people to bring them to a different, more civilized society isn't always the best answer, because they don't know anything different. So it's neat to see how that has, flourished for self-help and seeing it work.
It's really interesting you say that, because the number of the families that we work with in Nicaragua have had to migrate over the years to be able to support their families and send remittances. And because of the work that we're supporting them with, they're actually able to stay home with their families and keep their families united. And that's really important. It really does address that migration crisis. People want what's best for their families. They want to stay home. They don't want to have to leave their home, their community, their country. But they're doing what they can to be able to support their families. And so the more we can invest in supporting people where they're at, the more peaceful our world is going to be.
Absolutely.
So you have a relatively small staff. I mean, how many people do you assist every year?
I've got our impact report here. I'm going to have to reference that because it's pretty substantial. We're working with roughly 2,000 people directly. So family size, we'd be looking at closer to 15,000 indirectly at the household level. So we've got 4 of us that are here in Iowa, and then the majority of our staff is around the world. In Ghana in particular, we work hand in hand with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the local USDA, and so they actually reassign some of their extension staff to work with us so that we can get them out of the office and into the communities. And so that's a really good partnership to be able to work with that public-private partnership together to increase our impact.
And do you get Peace Corps volunteers?
We don't directly, but they're assigned to different ministries, so the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, so we do work with Peace Corps volunteers.
Now, I know for a long time you were located in the old Shield Bantam Museum,
Yep.
and then you were in Deer's House for a while. Where are you located now in town?
Willow Lawn Mall.
Okay.
Yep.
And is that a stable location for you?
It is, yeah. So come by anytime. We've got a beautiful office. We'd be happy to welcome you. We've got great coffee from Nicaragua on Thursdays.
It's very nice.
Been out there. I know that the focus, one of the things I'm really impressed with your organization is the way that the focus changes over the years as the needs and the opportunities change. And I know a few years ago, one of the focuses was to develop high lysine corn in Nicaragua and Ghana as a nutritional supplement for people that live there, because the corn that they were growing was not providing enough nutrients for them to really be able to thrive on. And that has kind of expanded as I'm looking at the program here into a number of different areas that you would say are not traditionally associated with farming. I mean, you know, with your, with some of the other things that you're doing. How many other organizations are there that do what self-help does? Is yours a fairly unique organization, or are there tons of other people? And I guess what I'm getting at is, are there networking opportunities that can be done with other organizations that have the same focuses, or is your focus very unique? And I know it's very, it's centered primarily in Nicaragua and Ghana, so there's only those two geographic areas. But is that what kind of makes your organization rather unique?
The fact that we stay makes a big difference. So we're not necessarily in the same communities, but the fact that we've got really talented leadership in Ghana and Nicaragua means that we can learn lessons and then apply them in supporting other communities. And so to your question about networking, there are other organizations. You might have heard of Heifer International. They've got the famous Passing on the Gift, where you might invest in an animal and the offspring is passed on. They used to subcontract, so Self-Help actually carried out their work in Ghana to be able to do that. So it's a very similar model, and we all like to learn from one another. So we're a relatively small player as far as international development goes. For us, a 50,000 grant is massive, and the USAID contracts don't even consider something that tiny. And so we don't get funded from the government. We're all privately funded by individual donors that want to make a difference. And we network often in Des Moines at the World Food Prize. That comes to Iowa every year. And so the nice thing is all of these organizations from around the world, Catholic Relief Services, Heifer, other of the bigger organizations will come in, and we're really well respected in that space. And we're really proud of that affiliation with Dr. Borlaug. We really take what the World Food Prize laureates are honored for. This is like the Nobel Prize of Agriculture that's held in Iowa every year. And we're the ones that put that into action. So we're not the ones doing the research necessarily, but when QPM was developed, quality protein maize, we were the ones that got it to the farmers. And when this vitamin A sweet potato was honored a couple years ago, we're the ones that are helping implement that on the ground. And so we like to work with universities to be able to take the latest research and really get it to the people. So I think that's what sets us apart.
What's your annual average donations? How much do you draw in?
So far this year, that we've had 650 donations, and the average donation size is $500. So it varies. We've gotten a couple of larger grants this year, but the median donation size is about $250. And about half of our support comes from within a 50-mile radius of Waverly. So it really is a local organization that's making a difference. So if anybody's interested in learning more, you can come by our office. And we're always recruiting for more board members to help us advocate for this work. So we'd appreciate any support you can offer.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Organizations like that in the community are outstanding, so we have lots of them. Moving on to item number 2 is presentation by Mr. Josh Schneiderman for the Waverly Oktoberfest Committee. Evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me a little bit of time to talk about the festival. I'm Josh Schneiderman, the marketing chair with Waverly Oktoberfest. We try to be the Midwest's most family-friendly Oktoberfest. Things for people of all ages to do. Plenty of the stuff you'd expect from a typical Oktoberfest, and plus plenty for kids, and we're even trying to come up with things that teenagers can stay engaged with too. There'll be, this year will be our 6th year. Been doing it since 2016. Took a year off in 2020, of course. We have lots of great food, a beverage garden featuring mostly Iowa and German beers, but then of course some popular options outside of that realm too. A lot of fun games. We've got traditional German folk music predominantly during the day, and then in the evening some rock, country, and pop bands that also are a lot of fun. And Friday night, if weather permits, fireworks. If not, of course, Saturday you can expect those. And this year, for the first time, through the Sister City program, Brian Falsgraf is making his guest Katja Wolf, the mayor of Eisenach, Germany. We expect her to be the one tapping the keg. That'll be a lot of fun. Some things that we have new this year that we haven't had in the past. Not Quite Brothers, a very popular classic rock band from the Cedar Valley, is going to be joining us. They've been a big hit other places that they've been around the Cedar Valley, and we think that's going to be a very nice performance. And we've also got Southland, a very local country band featuring the Bettys, Trent Poppy, Troy Toma, and Waverly folks that you know. And the Hurling Hatchets trailer, we're going to have that going on in the park also during Oktoberfest, so that'll be fun for people to try out. Some things that are coming back that we've gotten a lot of positive response from, so are back again this year. We've got the local Zymergy enthusiasts who brew a bunch of home brews that they share with the group. These will be available Saturday early afternoon. We've got Pop Rocks have been with us every year, a very high energy pop cover band. The people that have caught them in the past make a point to catch them every year. We've got Last Call featuring people from the Barflies, a popular local band. Barefoot Becky, one of the best responses we ever get for our German polka bands. She's going to be with us again this year, and part of the reason why we're now the first full weekend in October, so that we can get acts like that when other cities are, of course, trying to compete for talent that well known in that space. We've got the UNI International Dancers. The keg toss competition is back, as well as all the other Oktoberfest games that people love, and a lot of kids activities that we're expanding all the time. To have a successful festival, it depends on, of course, support. Businesses really help a lot, but people just being there. If you've never been, you should make a point to come, and if you have been, invite someone who's never been. It really showcases the best of what Waverly kind of is. I believe it really transforms Coleman Park, an already beautiful space, but it's kind of magical for that weekend. I think, plus volunteering. We can always use more help, and we're still pretty fervently looking for volunteers to help us put on the festival. And we're hoping for good weather. We've been lucky really every year so far, despite threats. And of course, that beer permit that you guys approved just a bit ago, that helps out a lot. All right, I just want to recognize some of the people that have made the festival what it is. Rich Purcell puts in a ton of work every year to get us ready for it. Travis Duncan and Ann Duncan from Duncan Home Services, Phil Jones, Chris Neindorf, Sean Ellerbrook, Isaiah Reichs, Amy Guinow, Melissa Higgins, and Laura Twait helping me out with marketing. And then, of course, even though taking a year off this year, Emily Neindorf, Bob Frederick, and Dietrich Drenkow are also a big part of what the festival has become. With Waverly Shell Rock football being out of town, and with us having Iowa and Iowa State games on the TVs at the festival, there's not a whole lot of reason to miss it. So, of course, we invite you to come out. We'd love to see you. You can find more information on Facebook, on Twitter, and at waverlyoktoberfest.com. Any questions or comments?
Can you just refresh the date?
Yeah, October 7th and 8th, and every year, the first full weekend in October is our plan.
Yep.
So events start like late Friday afternoon typically, right?
Yeah, Friday at 4 o'clock, we open the gates, I believe. And then run until about 11:30 that night, and then again, pretty bright and early, I think 11 o'clock. Again, we open up on Saturday and go until 11:30. So really all day Saturday, it's a full day event then.
Absolutely.
So it's always fun. I mean, Brian and I are usually the only city council members there in our German attire. And so I would encourage the other council members to put on your lederhosen and your drindles and get out there. Because it's fun, yeah.
Thank you.
And volunteering is usually fun. I usually work the beer tent, and it's, the people
Well-
who want to drink Busch Light at an Oktoberfest, I think, need some interventions, but
I know.
otherwise,
They're there.
it's fun. It's a good time.
I have to say that the beer tent is full of volunteers. That's not where they have a hard
Right.
time getting the
That's not where they
volunteers
have
for,
to,
so.
yeah.
We can even use them there. We've even got spots open right now.
Yeah.
And if you've never tried Busch Light before, you can get that as part of our flights on Saturday
Yes.
too.
Just to compare and contrast.
Some do.
Comes with ice cubes.
It should.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your work.
Yeah, it's hard work,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I think about the Waterloo Irish Fest and how 20 years ago it was a small, tiny thing and it has grown. And I would love to see Waverly's Oktoberfest grow as well.
I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth. And even the way that towns like Amana, the whole town really embraces it, and you've got the actual festival, but then you've got, like throughout town, you've got different things going on. You see a lot of things like that kind of coming along with our Oktoberfest, such as Doodle Fest, and then just other things, you know, around town, dinners and dances and whatnot.
I'm looking forward to Molly B someday.
She has been.
I know she has been, but, yeah. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving to item number 3, Resolution 22-123, awarding the contract for the citywide asphalt patching Fall 2022 project.
I'll move Resolution 22-123, a resolution awarding contract for the citywide asphalt patching Fall 2022 project to Klusner Construction, Inc. of Farley, Iowa for the bid amount of $11,326.50.
Second.
Motion by Bergen, second by Schneider. Council discussion, if any. Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Myers?
Yes.
Rinka?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Beaufour?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0 and 1 absent. Resolution 22-123 is approved. Brings us to item number 4, Resolution 22-124, a resolution setting a public hearing for review of plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Cedar River Park Baseball Softball Development Phase 3 project. Entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve Resolution 22-124, setting a public hearing at 7 PM on October 3rd, 2022 in the council chambers at City Hall for a review of plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs for the Cedar River Park Baseball Softball Development Phase 3 project.
Second?
Motion by Schneider, second by Belfer. Council discussion.
Is this on a really tight schedule? I just noticed that we're not really going to be getting the bids until Thursday, and then we have the public hearing the following Monday.
That's correct. I mean, I guess I wouldn't really call it a really tight schedule, but I do want to get it on as soon as we get the bids in, because then we wouldn't approve the contract until October 17th, assuming, you know, that it goes that far.
Okay.
And any work that they can get done still late this fall would be beneficial to getting the park open next spring.
Anything further? Roll call, Carla.
Rinka?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Beaufour?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0 with 1 absent. Resolution 22-124 is approved. Item 5 is Resolution 22-125, a resolution approving an actuarial services agreement with Silverstone Group LLC, HEB, for the City of Waverly. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 22-125, a resolution approving an actuarial services agreement with Silverstone Group LLC, HEB, to perform actuarial and consulting services for the City of Waverly for $2,275.
Second.
Motion by Rafi, second by Bergen. Council discussion, if any. Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Rinka?
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufour.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Vote is 6-0 and 1 absent. Resolution 22-125 is approved. Section I brings us to reports from boards and commissions. Item 1 is the monthly financial report for August 22. Item 2 is the Waverly Municipal Airport Commission. I believe that's minutes of July 14th, 2022. Item 3 is the Bremer Waverly Law Enforcement Board minutes of August 8th, 2022. Item 4 is the Waverly Public Library Fundraising Committee meeting minutes of August 8th, August 17th, August 24th, August 31st, and September 7th, 2022 brings us from items 4 through 8, all received into the record. Section J, staff updates. Bill, are you aware of anything? Okay. Nope. All right, we'll move forward with city council comments with Mr. Bergen.
I'd just like to invite anybody who wants to discuss city council business with me. I will be at the Wooden Foot. Join me for a beer.
All right. Ms. Beaufort?
No comments.
All right.
Nothing from me.
Nothing for me?
Mr. Schneider?
Okay, I'll spoil the.
Put my pen down.
I think we'll still finish before.
First of all, I want to commend the Waverly Public Library Fundraising Committee for the energy with which they're putting in their duties here with fundraising for the library renovation. It looks like they're holding weekly meetings, and not only are they holding weekly meetings, but they're getting the reports and the minutes of those meetings into the city clerk almost immediately, which is kind of unusual. So I want to commend whoever is on that committee for the work they're doing. Not only for the work they're doing, but the way that they're doing the work. Secondly, Councilperson Bergen reminded us that today is the annual Talk Like a Pirate Day, or National Talk Like a Pirate
International.
Day. International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Cover all the waters.
I have no idea how to talk like a pirate, but I'm really just hoping that Tim Kangas is not missing because he was not kidnapped by a pirate. So hopefully he will be here at our next meeting. And that's it.
We'll assume that.
Good.
Thank you. Mr. Morrow?
Hey, thanks again for entertaining me last couple of weeks. I'd like to commend everyone here that I know your jobs probably at times come with some criticism. Sometimes those criticizing voices are loud, but understand I don't think they're the majority. I think a lot of people just really appreciate what you do, so thank you.
Thank you. And I do not have anything further other than seeking a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Rathi, second by Bergen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you.